Greetings everyone, I'm Hero Weasel and this is my video guide to supporting basics for League of Legends. I hope to give a mini guide to some of the most basic information on supporting in League. I'm going to talk about masteries, runes, itemization, and what I call support goals in varying degrees. I won't be covering how to play any specific champs in this guide as there are lots of great videos out there with guides for every champ. Instead, we're going to be focusing on just the role itself. So let's take a look at some support goals and what those goals accomplish. You have about 5 main support goals that individual supports can try to accomplish with their kit and itemization. And these are sustain, peel/crowd control, engage, poke, and vision, also known as warding. Different champs will be able to accomplish these goals better or worse than others based on their kit. For example, Soraka has really great sustain and some options for poke and crowd control, but no real engage. Blitzcrank, on the other hand, has excellent engage, some decent peel and crowd control, but virtually no sustain. So let's take a look at these in order. What is the sustain goal? Champs like Braum, Bard, Janna, Lulu, Lux, Sana, Kayle, Soraka, and others are good at achieving the sustain goal. I mentioned Soraka already, so let's talk about her. Soraka is one of the best sustain supports in the game. Her healing can help an ADC win any trade and have them free farming while the enemy has to back or sit under their tower from chip and poke damage. That's how a sustain support should work. You keep your ADC and you shielded or healed, so the enemy slowly loses more health than you do. A lane can be won solely on the enemy being too afraid to go all in because your side always has the health advantage. Sustain goal in the mid game during teamfighting is to keep your carry alive, and anyone else you can also. Good sustain means you get to press on after a teamfight to secure other objectives instead of having to back from low health. Peel, crowd control goal. What is that? Some champs can stop a charging Udyr cold, stop an assassin from executing a carry, turn ganks away, chase down slippery opponents for the kill, and make fleeing from overwhelming odds much easier. Champs like Anivia, Bard, Blitzcrank, Janna, Lux, Morgana, Nami, Leona, Alistar, Nautilus, Tamkench, Taric, Thresh, Zillion, and others are good at achieving the crowd control goal. There are lots of champs in this category, and most of them have stuns, knockups, snares, or powerful slows. Let's talk about an important term: sticking. The term sticking is used to refer to trying to stay close to a champion you're trying to kill. And when something is stuck to something else, you peel it off. So that's where we get the term peel, as in peel for the ADC. So if you use these abilities to stop chasing, you can also use them to stop escapes. When you see an enemy running from the ADC, hit them with some crowd control so they can catch up and finish them off. In teamfighting, the crowd control goal is to keep your eye on the most fed person and your ADC, especially if they're the same person. Enemies will target them first to avoid taking sustained damage during a teamfight. Saving a key crowd control ability to peel for your carry may mean the difference between winning and losing a teamfight. Alternatively, you could inflict your crowd control on their assassin or marksman, so you cut down on their damage in a teamfight. It's a judgment call that has to be felt out. The crowd control goal is to hinder enemy movement and their ability to fight effectively. Engage goal. What is that? Some champs have the power to start fights on their terms, and set up situations where the enemy could be more easily killed by their ADC. This could lead to snowballing. Champs like Blitzcrank, Leona, Thresh, Nautilus, Alistar, Tamkench, Taric, and others are good at achieving the engage goal. Blitzcrank, Thresh, Leona, and Nautilus all have hook abilities. Blitzcrank can land his hook, and it pulls the opponent to him. Leona and Nautilus can land theirs and travel to the opponent, and Thresh lands somewhere in between. These hooks are great for getting into the thick of things and changing where and when the fight will take place. While Alistar and Tamkench have to commit a bit more, they also have the ability to displace their opponents for their team. Most engaged supports are tanks, but some of the mage supports are great at enhancing others' engages, such as Lulu's ult, Wild Growth. In the teamfighting phase, the engage goal is to land key ability on an enemy, such as Blitzcrank's Rocket Grab, at which point the enemy may die so fast they don't get to fight back. This can force the enemy to give ground to the sudden 4v5 situation. The engage goal is to give your team an easy way to initiate fights so that your team can take objectives and siege towers. Poke, harass goal. What is that? It's all about the damage. This goal is often where we see off-meta supports come in. Some supports are great at this role because they have long-range harass or very deadly ability combos. Some champs are played with this goal in mind when it's the only realistic goal they can achieve. This is what some consider the non-support support, stuff like assassins and other ADCs. Champs like Karma, Lysandra, Zyra, Lux, Annie, Syndra, Zillion, and others are good at achieving the poke goal. Poke can be summed up by thinking about constantly trying to hit with skill shots. Annie and her stun burst combo is a good example of harass. Most supports have some option for this goal. This goal contributes mostly a threat of damage to the enemy team, wearing them down one shot at a time or in small chunks. This is where we start going over into the term zoning. Zoning is basically controlling an area. Often repeated poke or harass will eventually lower the health of an enemy carry so much that an all-in becomes a serious threat or a kill. This can lead to snowballing and a win. If the strength of this composition can be taken advantage of with early snowballing, then in teamfighting phase, many of these supports can move over into a sub-carry, another fed team member that can dish out some serious damage faster than the enemy can cope, and end the match before they can build counters. The goal of poke and harass is to put your lane in a dominant position so you can zone your opponent away from your minions, making it harder for them to get gold. Special note: poke and harass is directly countered by the first goal we talked about, sustain.
Never falter.
Vision goal. What is that? Vision is generally achieved through warding, and is a very common goal for all supports. Warding is everyone's job, but supports are expected to do the heavy lifting on the matter. Seeing that the enemy jungle is fighting the dragon or invading your jungle, taking your buffs, is an opportunity to come in at the last minute, capitalize on their hard work, and steal the kill. Or kill the enemy jungler and finish the fight yourself. This can't be done if you don't see them doing it, though. So you need vision of important areas. Seeing roaming champs coming to your lane and avoiding their gank attempt is also important. Every support should have the goal of maintaining vision for their team. In latter parts of the game, maintaining vision of certain bushes and Baron Nashor is also important to your team. So now that we've cleared up some of the main support goals, how does one go about the meta? Part of the meta is feed the ADC. This means they kill all the minions and get the enemy champion kills. Don't even hit the minions. The only time you should even consider hitting the minions is if there are a lot of them and they're hitting your tower. Or if your ADC just killed the lane opposition and it's time to push the enemy tower. Never take it upon yourself to help push the lane while the opposition is present. Most ADCs can push the lane on their own just fine, and if they want your help, they'll let you know. More than likely, you'll just disrupt their last hit timing and make them lose CS to the other minions. So, where do you get gold then if you can't last hit or take kills? Gold income items and masteries. Spell Thief's Edge, Ancient Coin, and Relic Shield are all available to help generate extra gold, and can be upgraded for additional gold income. Also, the Bandit Mastery and the Cunning Tree provides a source of additional gold. Assists are an important part of a support's income as well. While we're talking about Bandit, it takes 12 mastery points to get it. So while you're spending points on the Cunning Tree, go ahead and pick up Wanderer, Secret Stash, and Meditation. Those masteries will help most supports fulfill their other goals more easily. You can get gold income runes, but don't. There are better rune setups. As for runes, there are lots of great guides for specific runes for each champion to get good results. Those may not always be for the supporting role. Mana regen and HP regen shouldn't be overlooked, as sustain can be very valuable in the bottom lane. Runes can enhance a playstyle, so this will often come down to preference in many cases. When in doubt, going with armor and magic resist runes isn't a bad idea. No one was ever hurt by being harder to kill. On to summoner spells. You're basically down to flash and exhaust. Honestly, these are the spells you'll be using 99% of the time. Flash does all that great Flash stuff like escaping and gap closing. Not much to say about Flash other than it's League of Legends. Learn how to Flash. Exhaust, however, is a spectacular spell. It's actually overpowered in many ways. First, it does 4 things. It slows by 30%, it lowers damage output by 40%, it lowers attack speed by 30%, and often overlooked, it lowers armor and magic resistance by 10 each. This is a great support spell because it will help your ADC get a very serious advantage in a trade or in all ends versus the enemy carry. It can also help save the life of your carry versus an assassin that wasn't expecting to have 40% of their damage cut off. Some other behaviors to try when supporting. Protect your tower, but try your best to only last hit minions that will die to tower fire while the ADC is backed or respawning. Only try to clear a wave quickly if they're chipping your tower with their attacks, or if the enemy opposition is also attacking the tower in assistance with the minions. If the minion waves are the same size and in the middle of the lane, consider leaving them alone and check your ward timers and refresh any wards about to expire. Maybe gank middle lane with your jungler. Pushing a wave with the ADC absent will just open your lane up for ganks, and you'll have to run a lot longer distance to get back under your tower. If your ADC is doing well, or another champ is hard carrying the game, try to focus on protecting them. Don't get distracted by the shiny gold of a minion wave in another lane. Teamwork can win the day and close the game out sooner than selfish solo roaming for farm. I'm not saying there is never a reason to pick up some opportunistic farm. Just check your priorities rather than get distracted by it. Watch your mini-map. If you have no map awareness, then you being in the support position is bad. A good ADC is watching the mini-map because they know they're a prime gank target. That's why you need to help them out by keeping vision in the river, and watch the map with them. You both reacting as soon as possible to an incoming gank may mean the difference between the enemy jungler getting a double kill and 2 assists for the enemy team, or wasting their time they could have used on farming or ganking another lane. I saved this part for last because it's important. Let's go over the Sightstone. We talked about the vision goal, and this feat of vision is accomplished by rushing a Sightstone. Once we have the Sightstone, we can trade in our Stealth Ward trinket for a Sweeper. The Sweeper is important because it lets us find and destroy pesky enemy wards. This could mean our jungler could kill the dragon without the enemy knowing, or gank a lane without the enemy seeing them coming. Some people like to build their support item first, then get the Sightstone. This delays the vision a lot and puts off the Sweeper. This delays one of your goals, and could cause the enemy team to take the dragon without it being warded. Delaying the Sweeper means the enemy team's stealth ward may give them early warning on gank attempts. I'm not including a warding guide in this video, but if you'd like to see a basic warding guide, or some more advanced support tips, leave a comment. I hope you like this video guide to supporting basics for League of Legends. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe.